What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for our end of season ratings. We've been keeping this up every single month for the season, and now it is time to sort out all our players in a tier list judged by the player ratings that we have given them throughout the season. It goes from awful 0 to 4.9, bad to 5 to 5.4, okay 5.5 to 6.4, good to 6.5 to 6.9, very good 7 to 7.4, and anything above in excellent. And then obviously the player of the season as well. Yeah, I'm really excited to see where these players land this year.
Yeah, how we've calculated it, obviously we've added all our player ratings throughout the whole season. Not one rating has been missed, and then we basically average it out over how many appearances each player has made, and that comes with one rating for each player. And usually at this point we're like, oh my god, we rated the guy this, but you know what? The stats don't lie, the ratings don't lie. This is a definitive how they played this season. No ifs, no buts.
Well, you say the stats and the ratings don't lie. We're about to find out, aren't we?
We're about to find out. We're about to see. Let's see how we've rated throughout the season, how good our ratings are.
Is that first up Man or Solomon?
Man or Solomon? Well, he only played, how many games did he play?
5 games he played.
5 games.
I'm not sure if we gave him 5 ratings because a few was subs.
We gave him 4 ratings, an average of 6.5.
6.5, so he goes into good.
Solomon. So goes into good. Obviously he got...
And you were calling him our flop of the season and we're putting him in good.
Well, he's only played 4 games. But obviously...
But what 4 games? 4 good games.
Well, 2 good games. One against Burnley, which he got a 9 for. One against Sheffield, he got an 8. But then 4 against Fulham in the Carling Cup, 6 at home to Liverpool. So it ends up with a 6.6, and that's it. He only played 4 games. No, it's really hard to judge him, but it looks like he might be off in the summer. Yeah,
so Manuel Solomon goes into good. Next up is Yves Bissouma. Obviously had a really strong start to the season where he would have been an excellent, potentially going on for player of the season, but he had an absolute dramatic fall off. And where's he going?
Well, put it this way, his first 10 games he averaged a 7.8, which was mental. But unfortunately, he did drop off, so 6.2 over the whole season.
So he goes into okay.
Goes into okay. That's how much his drop-off has been, because he was incredible for the first part of the season. Then he got that red card at Luton, and it all seemed to change for him, and unfortunately never really recovered from it. So 6.2, unfortunately, for Yves Bissouma at the end.
Next up is Emerson Royal.
Emerson Royal, he gets a 5.8.
5.8, so he's also in okay.
Just about sneaks in there. Obviously, most of his okay performances actually probably came at centre-back. When he was a full-back, he actually struggled a bit more than he did at centre-back, which is funnily enough. But
yeah, he was terrible at left-back, let's be honest.
Yeah, last 2 performances of the season, got a 4 and a 3 against Liverpool and Chelsea, so not a great end, but had a stretch of games when he was a centre-back where he did okay, especially in that January period when we were missing players. So, but sneaks into okay, but a 5.8.
I mean, if Emerson goes into okay, like how bad do you have to be to get into like awful and bad? You've got to be like literally
got to be
like 1s every week, or like 2s or 3s like most weeks.
Well, he got a few 8s, a few 8s
fair
and
play.
7s, Emerson, so you can't discount them.
All right, next up is James Maddison. Very similar, not as dramatic as Yves Bissouma, but excellent in the first 10 games of the season, then a bit of a massive drop-off.
6.7.
So good.
So it goes into good. Again, first 10 games of pre-injury, he averaged a 7.8, similar to Bissouma. Post-injury, he averaged a 5.7. So really big drop-off, unfortunately, in his ratings. But let's hope he starts next season. And well, to be fair, last 2 games of the season, he got a 7 and an 8. So let's hope he takes that into next season.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're going to need him. Like when he diminished, the creative hub in the team completely diminished, and you saw that on a week-to-week basis. But who do we have next? Up next is Rodrigo Bentancur. Not the greatest season for him, but you can caveat it with him coming back from 2 major injuries.
We averaged him a 6.2.
6.2, so he goes into okay.
Goes into okay. In fact, he did all right throughout the season, and especially when he first came back, he was looking really good, but unfortunately wasn't able to sustain it. So 6.2 for him.
Mickey van der Ven up next. Obviously, he's been one of the most consistent, if not the most consistent player throughout the season. He did miss the large chunk of it, and we missed him dearly when he did do that. But when he came back, you know, there was no drop-off whatsoever, was he? It was unbelievable.
Yeah, really great, stellar first season and an incredible average of 7.7.
7.7.
So
He goes into excellent.
He nearly averages an 8.
Wow.
Very close to averaging an 8 for over the whole season, which goes to show how incredible. In fact, I'm looking, we gave him a 2 against Newcastle, and then he also got a 6 away at Liverpool, and those are the only 2 games that he averaged less than a 7.
So if you take away that 2, what would the average be across the whole season?
If you take away the 2, I mean, his average would be, I mean, I have to calculate it. His average would be, 1 sec.
Because surely that brings it down like quite a bit, just that 1-2.
His average would be, yeah, it's all 7.8. Goes up 1.
Yeah, unreal.
Goes up a mark. So yeah, I mean, incredible first season for Van der Ven, and I think that's testament to it.
Yeah, and that is why he got Player of the Season and Young Player of the Season in the club awards. Next up is Heung-min Son. You know, equaled his best tally in terms of goals and assists throughout the season. He has had a bit of a drop-off towards the end, but I still think he's been one of the best players for Spurs this season.
Yeah, we averaged him a 6.8.
6.8, so he goes into good.
Goes into good. I mean, that's a bit harsh, I feel. He did have 2 10s. He got a 10 out of 10 against Newcastle at home.
And Burnley.
A 10 out of 10 away at Burnley. But unfortunately, in his post Asia Cup form, he's been averaging a 6.2 because he's got a few low scores, especially away at Chelsea, poor away at Newcastle as well. He got a 2 out of 10. Pre Asia Cup, he averaged 7.05. So he was a bit better according to us before the Asia Cup. Had a bit of a drop off, but obviously got a lot of goal contributions. The problem with Son is when he's bad, he really can be quite anonymous, and that's why he gets a much lower score maybe.
I think when you're judging it through the whole season, when you're taking into account the goal contributions he's had, when you're taking into account the leadership abilities that he has shown, I do think it's only fair to bump him up one to very good.
Yeah, I think that's probably what he deserves, to be honest.
Yeah, so Sonny's getting bumped up one. Next up is Pierre-Emile Højbjerg. I mean, I think he's going to probably go into okay.
6.1.
6.1. Yeah, okay.
Goes into okay. I think that's probably fair. He's had some good games. He's had some bad games. He's had some average games. That's pretty much Pierre-Emile Højbjerg in a nutshell. I think he's done a good job, like coming off the bench, like in those scenarios when we're seeing out games and stuff like that. When he's asked to do too much, start too many games, play too many minutes, he struggled a bit. The problem is with that is that some of the good performances he had coming on the last 10, 15 minutes, he wouldn't have got a rating. He might have done for some, but not for all of them. So in the games that he started in, he was actually more poor than he was good. I think what was the stat? Like, he started in 1 win throughout the course of the whole season. I think he started that Fulham at home game, didn't he, which we won, and then I'm not sure too many other games that we won he started. So yeah, it's a shame for him. Big Vic up next. Good season for him. Good successor for Hugo Lloris. I think we needed to bring in a strong keeper, and I think we've definitely done that. 7.1. 7.1, so very good. Yeah, and I think a really solid first season for Vicario. I think, again, before that, if you take just before that Man City game in the FA Cup, which is where things started to turn slightly for him, he was averaging, let me just get this up, before that he was averaging 7.3. Post that City game, for the last few months of the season, 6.4. So there was a slight drop off there from Vicario, which gets him to 7.1. Still pretty strong throughout the whole season, but let's hope he's learned from some of those set piece teams targeting him and trying to bully him. I think near the end of the season we did see signs that he's trying to adjust for that. Still brilliant brilliant shot stopper, isn't he? One of the best in the league. So really, really encouraged by his first season. Yeah, you definitely saw that in the last game against Sheffield United. He was being more aggressive. He was pushing players away. So I think that is positive signs for next season. Next up is Destiny Udogie. Missed the last portion of the season out through injury, but I do think he's been a fairly consistent performer, or very consistent performer throughout the season. Yeah, we gave him a 6.9. So it's just good. Just only good. I think, unfortunately, his last game of the season was a 2 against Newcastle. Probably just about that game cost him a very good, unfortunately. Most of the season he's been getting 7s. In fact, in the period between January and February, he was averaging a 7.6, and then the last 2 months of the season before his injury, he was averaging a 5.7. So I think that injury he got, obviously he had surgery. He clearly wasn't himself for the last 5 or 6 games before that injury, I felt. And there was a big drop-off, which probably affected his rating. Before that, he was definitely in probably excellent territory. So it's unfortunate for Destiny that's happened. But I think it's been a brilliant first season.
Do you think he deserves to be bumped up one to very good?
I think so, personally.
Yeah, I agree.
I just think it's a bad month that's cost him it.
Yeah, I'm going to bump him up to very good. So Destiny, a doggy gets bumped.
Also did get a 2 in that Chelsea game, though, where he got sent off.
Who is next?
Skip.
Ollie Skip. Ollie Skip.
Ollie Skip, we gave a 6.1.
6.1?
6.1.
So okay. I thought you said we were giving him over 7.
I calculated it
Oh,
wrong.
right. 6.1.
So it was a 6.1.
Okay. Yeah, and I think that's fair for Ollie Skip. I think there's been a few good cameos in there. How many games has he played?
15. Sorry, 18.
How many starts?
How many? I don't know how many starts.
Okay.
I don't have it there. That's just how many ratings we've given him. We've given him 18 ratings.
I think that his highest rating was probably at left back coming on in the Liverpool game.
We gave him an 8 away at Palace, it says here. Sorry, at home to Chelsea, we gave him an 8. He must have come on and done quite well. We also gave him an 8 away at Liverpool. Those are the only times he got higher than a 7 throughout the season. So was mixed pretty much throughout the game. Most of it was 6s. I think he was okay. Poor in some games as well. I think it's a fair rating.
Next up is Ben Davis. I think he was fairly good when filling in at centre back when Romero and Van der Ven were injured. Whenever he's asked to play at left back, I think he flattered to deceive, to be honest. But I think it's an okay season from Ben Davis. Yeah,
in that little run where he was at centre back, he averaged actually a 7.5, which is really impressive. Unfortunately, some other games at left back he was quite poor, and he also had a few bad games at centre back. Ended up with a 6.6.
6.6 in good.
Yeah, I think he goes into good.
I agree. Next up is Dejan Kulusevski. And I think this Kulusevski rating is going to be the battle between me and you, because you've rated him fairly highly, I remember, at the beginning of the season. And I was rating him quite low. So it's going to be interesting to see where he goes.
Averaged, he gets a 6.4.
Yeah.
Which is what? Good or okay? Okay.
It's the cut-off for okay.
And you gave him a 6.1, and I gave him a 6.8.
Yeah.
So there was a very big difference there. As you say, at the beginning of the season, for the first few months of the season, he was averaging, for me, he was averaging a 7.4. For the beginning of the season, for you, he was averaging a 7. So I was quite significantly higher. But if we do take since the Fulham game, which is obviously our bad period, he's averaged a 5. Not even like a 5 point anything, literally a 5. So that last 8 games has been... Well, to be fair, he did get a 9 against Sheffield, so obviously got a couple of goals there. But those last stretch of 8 games really, really cost him that good rating, or very good even.
Yeah, I think okay is fair for Decky. Next up is Cuti Romero.
I would have put him in good, personally.
Next up is Cuti Romero. Surely he gets into very good or excellent.
We gave him a 7.2.
Yep, very good.
7.2. Not quite as good as Van der Ven. I thought they'd be closer, but a few bad games obviously has cost him. He obviously got a 1 against Chelsea. So that, I mean, after only 1 of the season, I believe, he was pretty bad in that game, to be fair. What was
Arsenal away?
Arsenal away, we gave him a 6. Sorry, gave him a 7.
7?
7.
Own goal and gave away a penalty.
Yeah, we gave him a 7 for that. Because they weren't totally his fault, was it? All of
true.
It. But he's received a few more ratings under a 7 than Van der Ven. So Van der Ven's kept that consistency. But interestingly enough, he's probably actually got a few more 8s and 9s. So that's why I balance each other out. But yeah, Romero 7.2. I think it's been a really good season and a fairly consistent season.
It's his best season in the Spurs shirt,
I would
for
say
sure.
So. I think his most consistent season, yeah.
Next up is Radu Dragushin. Poor first few games, really strong last few games.
Yeah, 6.5. 5 ratings. Last couple games, gone 8 and a 7. For his first 3 games, 7 away at Villa, but then a 4 away at Fulham and a 6 at home to Luton. So decent from Radu, and yeah, goes into good. I think that's a fair reflection of what he's shown.
Timo Werner up next. I think he's going to be very up and down, because I remember being quite impressed with him some games, not so impressed with him some other games. But I think what we can agree with the majority of his performance, that very frustrating.
Yeah, I have given him... Sorry, he's given a 6. So only okay, average a 6. But again, bit of disparity between me and you. You gave him a 5.6 and I gave him a 6.3. So you didn't. I was a bit more forgiving of Timo Werner than you were. But then I gave him an okay. You gave him a bad, essentially.
Yeah.
I think it is. Yeah, I think again, okay is probably where he was at. He had some really good games. And what was it? 5 goal contributions at the end of the day. Not terrible, but I don't think there was any game where he blew us away. There was probably some really good games. I remember Forest at home, he played really well. I think Palace at home, he scored a goal, he played really well.
Came on against Villa, did really well.
Came on against Villa. He seems like he was like a functional player, but nothing like amazing, nothing incredible.
What you could do want to say, though, is like when he got injured, the creativity in the team and our attacking Nelson team did go dramatically down.
Yeah, it did hurt us a bit when he got injured. That's probably true. So I think, yeah, that's what we gave him, a 6.
All right, who is up next? Can't see. Is that Richarlison?
Porro.
Porro.
Pedro Porro.
Porro's surely got to go into very good. Surely.
We rated him a 7.
7, yeah, so very good.
Average of 7. Some really strong showings again in that period where after the Villa game he suffered quite a bit for that, but the majority of the season been phenomenal. In fact, the first up until the Chelsea game, he averaged a 7.8 as well, like really, really high, nearly an 8 every game. So he was having a great season. Couldn't really sustain that level, but still a really, really high season for Porro. One of our most consistent performers for the whole season, in my opinion.
Yeah, and after that kind of spell that he's gone through, he ended the season really well, didn't he? With a performance against, I know it's against Sheffield United, so you got a caveat with that, but a performance that we were accustomed to seeing in the first half of the season. Next up is Brennan Johnson. Up and down season for him. 15 goal contributions, though, so I think people need to maybe put a bit more respect on his name for what he has shown in his first year in a Spurs shirt. Where are we putting him?
And maybe we do too, because we gave him a 6.3.
6.3, and okay.
Only goes into okay. Again, last month of the season, he's been averaging a 5.4.
Yeah, he has been poor recently.
So it's been very, very bad. Only one, I think I can see here, he's had 1, 2... about 4 games over a 7. So there's only 4 games all season where we think he's been really, really good this season. And he's
had 15 goal contributions. That's mad.
15, but yeah, that's the thing. He's had games where he's not played great, but he's laid on an assist or 2, which has obviously helped him out. Again, I think he's been all right. I do agree. Like, he's not a player in terms of as part of the team unit in general play, where a lot of the time he contributes a lot. Like, I think he does give the ball away a lot. I think when he does get the ball to feet, he doesn't really take on his man that much. But there are certain moments where he does get the ball in behind, and he has that quality to just lay it on the plate for the striker, which he's done a number of times. So I think if he can just refine his overall game, which I think he can at a young age, I think we've got a really good player there. But at the moment, he's still quite raw.
Yeah, I think I remember having this argument with you like halfway through the season, saying, Brennan's getting all these goal contributions, but his performances aren't matching that. And I think this the rating that we've given him has kind of reflected that.
Yeah, I think so.
Next up is Pape Matar Sarr. Surely he goes into good, I reckon.
Pape Matar Sarr, we gave him a 6.6.
Yeah. So he goes into good.
Post AFCON, and when he had that reported back injury, he's been averaging a 5.7 since that Wolves at home game. So he's again a big drop off when before that for most of the season he was averaging a 7.1. So he was playing really consistently well. I think we're all very happy with him. Then he did seem to have that back injury, didn't quite. Get that level of performance back. He's been in and out of the team as well. But look, you got to remember, he's still 21. He's still 21, still so young. It's so impressive that for the level of performance he's been showing for the majority of the season, I think he's got so many levels to go up. So I'm so excited about him.
Yeah, this guy has got a really high ceiling. I as well am really excited about him, and I think he could be a future one of the best box-to-box midfielders in the Premier League. That's how highly I rate this guy. So good starting point for him in his first season, as really consolidating his place as one of the first team members. And there's definitely a lot more to come from him for sure. Next up is Richarlison. Where are we going to put him? 11 goals this season, 12 in all competitions. You'd probably say he goes into good, right?
6.4.
6.4. Okay.
Only goes into okay. Again, another one of those players where when he's off it a bit, he's really useless. Especially, I think, the beginning part of the season.
Yeah.
He was
game
really
against
poor.
Bournemouth and a few other games like that.
Even though we gave him a 10 against Sheffield United at home, for the first 10 games up until the Chelsea game, he was averaging a 6.2. He then went on that mad run where he scored, I think, he was like 8 goals in 5 games or something like that. Or sorry, it was 7 goals in 8 games, I think it was. That run, we averaged him a 7. And
is that it?
Yeah.
I thought we would have done more.
Average, well, because he's scoring goals, but some games he was playing really well.
What did we give him for Everton?
Everton away?
Yeah.
Gave him a 9. Gave him a 9 for Everton away for two really good goals. But then, again, he picked up that injury, and for the last few ratings of the season, 5.5. So didn't have the best end. Although he did score against Liverpool. That was his first goal, probably since... That was his first goal since Everton away, I think. Was it?
Is that right? His first goal since that? Nah, it can't be, surely.
Yeah, Liverpool away.
Well, he didn't play much after that, did he?
Yeah, that was his first goal since Everton
When
away.
did he get injured? When was his last game before the injury?
I think it says here, Wolves at home. I think Wolves at home, and then he didn't play up until...
Yeah, you're right. He never scored after Everton away up until Liverpool.
Wow, so...
His last 3 goals all on Merseyside.
Unbelievable. Does love Merseyside. But yeah, I think that is the story of Richarlison's season. And that's why people are still, even though he's got a decent goal tally, they're still conflicted because it literally was like a burst, wasn't it? Of like
Purple
10
patch.
games where he did score. But then again, it's harsh because he got injured. It wasn't like he fell off form. But when he did come back, obviously you got to remember against Arsenal, he had a decent cameo. Obviously Liverpool, he came on, changed the game, could have got back in the game. So there was some bright marks. I think if you take the whole season as a whole, I think okay, yeah,
I think keep him in okay.
You reckon?
To give him the benefit of the doubt because he did go on that purple patch and because he was our second highest goal scorer this season, maybe bump him up. But I do think after seeing this season, at the beginning of the season, I was saying, Richarlison and Son are fine to keep as our number 9s for next season, but I don't think like that anymore. I do think we need better. So bump him up to good. Just give him the benefit of the doubt for the goals that he did score.
Funnily enough, I rated him as 6.3. Oh, no, and you rated him 6.5. Wasn't that much difference, actually. Sorry.
So I rated him higher.
Bit higher, yeah.
All right, Brian Hill. How many games did he actually play?
He played, we gave him... How many ratings? We gave him... 6 ratings, and he averaged a 5.2.
So not good.
Not good.
Our first player.
Our first bad. Brian Hill. He didn't. He literally didn't get above a 6. When
did he get a 6 even?
He got a 6. He got a 6 at home to Bournemouth and a 6 away at Man United. And he got a 6 at home to Villa, which he started, one of his only starts. The other games are 5s, and there was a 4 away at Chelsea.
So he only started 2 games, at home to Villa and away to Man City?
Yeah. Yeah, those were the only 2 starts. Wasn't great when he was made available, unfortunately. So, yeah, I think that is deserved, unfortunately, for Brian Hill. And
I said it in the previous video, Gil, flop of the season. And I think it's showing in the player ratings. Giovanni Lo Celso, our last player. I think he's had a good season. Whenever he's been on the pitch, he's impressed me, apart from maybe a couple of games. But I think he's been fairly consistent performance level.
Yeah, we gave him a 6.5.
6.5, so good.
So it goes into good.
He deserved more minutes.
I gave him a 6.7. You gave him a 6.3. I thought he was fairly decent when he did play. Unfortunately, Didn't get the minutes probably deserved, and I thought he was quite good in the cameo appearances he made. And when in those few starts he had post Maddison injury, he looked like he was stepping up. Unfortunately, he got injured again.
Yeah. And then after that, he just couldn't break his way back into the team again. And I think Ange should have given him minutes. We needed his creativity. But let's finish off on Ange Postecoglou. And I think this might be a lot different rating the first half of the season to second half of the season.
Definitely. We rated him a 6.9.
So overall. Good.
Overall, again, if we take up until, even up until just January, that Man United game in January, if we averaged his rating for the first half of the season, essentially 7.4. So
very good.
Very good.
And that is like 1.1 away from excellent.
And then for the second half, 6. So I think there's a story of Tottenham season, unfortunately. The late season collapse as well definitely held against him, because we were, in some of those games, absolutely diabolical, reminiscent of last season, to be honest, some of those performances. But I think the overall picture is good. I think improvement on last season, got Europa League football, got the team playing some good football when they're on their game. I think he's obviously now got time to assess the players on the pitch and who he wants to keep. And I think overall it has been a good performance from Ange Postecoglou. I wouldn't go as far. I think a lot of people are going a bit overboard in my mind, saying it's been incredible and like unbelievable. I think I'm happy. Don't get me wrong. I don't think he's like been incredible. I think in terms of a management performance first season, it's good. It's good.
I actually think this tier list right here is fairly reflective of what the season actually was in terms of player performance level. So if you bring up the end tier list,
and it's no secret who should go in the top.
Yeah,
tier.
Mickey van der Ven gets our player of the season.
7.7 by quite a distance as well, actually. By quite a distance.
For some reason, it's not going in the tier. Oh, there we go. So in bad is Brian Hill. In okay is Bissouma, Emerson, Bentancur, Højbjerg, Skip, Kulusevski, Werner, and Brennan Johnson. I would say, what would I say? Do you think any of those OKs deserve to be bumped down one?
Bumped down?
Or bumped up one?
The only one who maybe could be bumped down is Emerson, but I think he probably deserves just to stay in OK.
I think we probably should bump him down one.
To Emerson?
Yeah.
I think, because he had some, look, we gave him some 8s. So we can't, I don't want to dismiss that.
All right, fair enough. I think it's all fair then in OK. In good, you've got, I mean, Manor Solomon, for the 5 games he played, it's hard to put him in good, but it's harsh to put him anywhere else. It should be a can't judge for Manor Solomon, really. But it's Manor Solomon, James Maddison, Ben Davis, Radu Dragusin, Pape Matar, Richarlison, Lo Celso, and Ange Postecoglou.
Okay, I think that's pretty fair. Yeah.
And for very good, it's Heung-min Son, Vicario, Udogie, Coutinho Romero, and Pedro Porro. It's just mad, though, isn't it? It's absolutely crazy, where you look at how many goals we conceded, you look at how open you think we've been this season, and our highest rated players are all our back line.
Yeah, I know. Because I think they've had a lot of work to do. I think that's fair to say, but I don't think it's completely their fault why we've shipped all these goals. I think the team dynamic, in terms of how easy it is to get on our back line, has been a big problem, and I don't think it's totally on them. I think they've been performing quite consistently well individually.
And then obviously our player of the season, which is Mickey van der Ven, and he got the official one. He got the official Young Player of the Year as well, and that is reflected in our tier list. So, guys, let us know what your thoughts are on this tier list. Do you agree with it? If you do disagree, let us know your tiers in the comments section below. But thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, come on, you Spurs.